Hi troops, it's Royce here from Supreme Being Fitness. Today I just thought I'd make a quick video to talk to you about pre-workout nutrition. The reason for that is we run one of our bootcamp sessions this morning and a few of the clients, about 3/4 of the way through the session, started to not flag out but started to, waver off a little bit, and I think one of the clients was actually sick, so congratulations on that, Jodie, you must have been working really hard. And when I asked the question, what kind of stuff have we had for breakfast, some of the responses I got were, not what I was expecting, or, the nutrition was a little bit misguided, and some of them hadn't actually eaten at all. So what I thought I'd do is go through a few of the foods that I will be looking to take in before I'm about to do an intense workout, okay? Now, the first thing that I'll always use is oats. There's nothing really complicated in these are simple Asda's home browned oats. I will tend to stay away from the bigger name brands, reason being is, through my experience, they tend to put a little sugar in them to make them taste nicer. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case with all of them. By all means, check the labels, have a look, see what the sugar content is. If it's really high, I would say try and steer clear. Sugar is one of the things that we're going to try and avoid pre-workout because it's a simple carb. Now, some people would actually say that simple carbs are good before a workout. I tend to disagree. The type of carbohydrates I'm looking to get in are going to be the complex ones, so the slower releasing carbs. Reason being, a simple carb can mess up your glucose levels and your insulin levels, and that's the last thing we want to be doing while we're working out, okay? I'm going to be looking at a carbohydrate which is going to be nice and sustainable, going to keep my glucose and my insulin levels at a nice level balance throughout the workout, and it's going to supply my body with an adequate level of energy, okay? Another good source of carbohydrate I find is wholemeal bread. Now, I'm sure you've all seen the diets, avoiding bread and all the rest of it. I've been using it for a long time, and I'm not going to take out wholemeal bread. This stuff here is actually Dr. Zach's protein bread. So believe it or not, this is actually a reduced carbohydrate bread. It's got about 30 grams of protein in over 2 slices, so it's a nice sneaky way of me getting a bit more protein in my diet. And it's also got about 30 grams of carbohydrates per 2 slices as well, so it's quite an equal balance. For me, that's generally not going to be enough carbohydrates. Normally, if I'm having 2 slices of toast with a few scrambled eggs, I would have a small bowl of porridge as well. The bowl of porridge I'll normally have, if I'm having it on its own, I'll be looking at about 100 grams, okay? Obviously, this is going to differentiate depending on your size, your training requirements, what kind of diet you're following, what your nutrition's like throughout the day, okay? Going back to what I just mentioned, eggs with the toast. I'll always look to get a nice, simple, fast digesting protein in my pre-workout and my post-workout as well. Now, this can be in the form of a protein shake sometimes, but normally I would like to try and get all of my nutrition through food as much as I can. So eggs is a really good way of doing that. An easy way of working out if a protein is fast digesting or slow digesting is just to think, how long do you have to chew it for? If you generally have to chew a food a lot longer, then it's going to be a slower digesting protein. If you can chew it really quickly and swallow it, obviously then it's going to be a faster digesting protein. So for example, an egg, if you chews and you're able to swallow it, that's going to be quite fast digesting in your stomach. Chicken, for example, obviously takes a lot more chewing than an egg does. By the time it gets to the stomach, it's going to take a lot longer to digest, break down into amino acids and finally get to the muscles, okay? So that's just something for consideration, something to remember as a rule of thumb. The last thing I'll always try and include in my pre-workout is a banana as well. Now, banana is not necessarily a slow carbohydrate, but I'm going to use them anyway. Bananas have been being used for years. They are like nature's power bars. They're absolutely brilliant. They're a good source of carbohydrates, regardless of exactly where they are on the glycemic index. I'm still going to use them in my pre-workout. I have done for a long time, and I rely heavily on them. So I'd recommend it to everyone to try and include a banana as well. Okay, that is pretty much everything, troops. There's no big hidden secrets there, or probably most of these foods you've all seen. You've probably even got in your cupboards. It's just knowing how to apply them and what to use at what times. One thing I will quickly talk about is pre-workout drinks. Now, things that usually advertise as energy drinks or pre-workout drinks tend to contain a lot of sugar, which, as I spoke about earlier, is something that I'm looking to avoid in my pre-workout nutrition. Now, it's completely up to you if you do want to use these drinks because you feel it enhances your performance, but in recent studies they actually found that you would actually be more beneficial just drinking water in the long run, okay? Reason being is, as I said, this sugar is going to only mess up your insulin and glucose levels, possibly while you're working out, if not halfway through or after. And in the long term, it's not what we want. We can start building insulin resistance and all sorts of problems associated with high sugar energy drinks, okay? So, I hope this helps, troops. Start trying to apply the rules of nutrition in your pre-workouts, and hopefully it will help your performances, okay? We'll see you at a session soon, troops. Happy training.